What if I told you the real apocalypse won't come from another galaxy, but from a military lab right here on Earth? It sounds absurd, until you discover that weapons already exist that look like they were designed by aliens. Drones that kill without pilots, fighters that don't show up on radar, projectiles that travel at double the speed of sound, and invisible beams that melt armor in complete silence. Because while you watch wars fought with rusty missiles and old helicopters, the Pentagon and its allies have built armaments that break the rules of war, of physics, and of logic. Today on TechZNX, you're going to meet the 7 most extreme, lethal, and futuristic destruction systems ever created by humans. Weapons so advanced, the only way to describe them is one word: alien. So get ready, because this is already in the hands of the great powers, and if they are ever activated, there will be no one left to tell the tale. Let's begin. Top 7. Shenlong Orbital Bomber. It's not a plane, it's not a satellite, and it's not a drone. It is something no country had shown until China flew it in silence, beyond the world's radar. The Shenlong Orbital Bomber is an uncrewed space vehicle capable of entering orbit, staying there for months, and returning to Earth as if nothing happened. A kind of ghostly space bomber that, if armed with offensive payloads, could strike any point on the planet from the vacuum of space without warning. On its last mission, this Chinese craft orbited the Earth for 268 days, deploying unknown objects, manipulating satellites, and performing maneuvers that no conventional aircraft could even imagine. The chilling part is that China never revealed the nature of its cargo. Defense reports point to a real possibility: orbital warfare. The Shenlong could serve as a stealthy attack platform able to eliminate enemy satellites without a trace, carry micronuclear payloads and release them over strategic targets from the stratosphere, hack or neutralize communication and defense space systems, all without a single siren on the ground. And most alarming, China has already tested this system more than once, with increasingly precise and advanced results. If the Shenlong stops being experimental and becomes an operational weapon, no nation will have a real defense against an orbital strike. Because when the first impact arrives, it will already be too late. Top 6. Burevestnik 9 of PM 730. This is not an ordinary missile. This is a flying abomination that, if real, would change the nuclear game forever. Its name is Burevestnik, but in the West, it is called what it really is: the Doomsday Missile. Why so much fear? Because this monster is not only nuclear, it is nuclear-powered. That means it does not need conventional fuel, it has virtually unlimited range, and it can remain airborne for days, weeks, or even months until it receives the order to annihilate its target. According to Kremlin statements, the Burevestnik is capable of evading any missile defense thanks to unpredictable trajectories, flying at low altitude for thousands of kilometers without detection, delivering a thermonuclear warhead capable of destroying an entire city. And the scariest part, it could change targets mid-flight thanks to integrated artificial intelligence. The United States and its allies have spent years trying to track its tests. But Russian secrecy is absolute. In fact, several nuclear accidents allegedly linked to Burevestnik tests were covered up with ambiguous communiques about failures at military installations. No one knows for sure how many units exist or how many are combat-ready. But one thing is clear: if Russia launches a single Burevestnik, there will be no possible response. Because this is not a missile. It is a radioactive specter, programmed to cross the planet again and again until the moment to strike arrives. Top 5. Boeing X-37B. It makes no noise, it carries no crew, and every time it goes into orbit, it leaves the rest of the world with more questions than answers. The Boeing X-37B is one of the most enigmatic systems in the U.S. arsenal. Officially, it's an experimental space test vehicle, But the reality is much darker. It can stay in space for more than 500 days without returning to Earth. It changes orbit without notice. It disappears and returns loaded with secrets. The unsettling thing is no one knows what it carries inside. Some reports suggest it may intercept enemy satellites, test electronic warfare systems in zero gravity, or even rehearse orbital strikes that no radar can detect. It runs on solar power, needs no pilots, and has complete autonomy to change course, hide behind civilian satellites, or deploy devices that no one on Earth has seen up close. And if it ever carries weapons, as many analysts suspect, we would be looking at the world's first operational space bomber, a platform that does not drop bombs from the sky, but from the vacuum of outer space. In a real conflict, a single order from the Pentagon would be enough for the X-37B to stop being an experiment and become the invisible nightmare of any enemy nation. You don't see it, you don't hear it, and when it acts, it is already too late. Top 4. SR-72. Imagine an aircraft so fast, so extreme, and so invisible that it can cross a continent before your air defenses can even blink. That is the SR-72, the secret successor to the legendary Blackbird, and one of the most chilling projects ever created by the Pentagon. This behemoth carries no conventional weapons. Its weapon is speed. It can fly above 20,000 meters of altitude at speeds exceeding Mach 6, which means it can travel more than 7,000 kilometers in a single hour. For enemy defenses, that is hell. There is no missile, no radar, no shield that can react in time. It is believed the SR-72 will serve as both an attack and reconnaissance platform, a craft capable of entering any airspace, gathering data in seconds, and, if fitted with offensive capability, annihilating critical targets before the enemy understands what happened. And the most terrifying part? Its development is already in advanced stages. Lockheed Martin has confirmed work on it, and tests are being carried out under absolute secrecy. This is not science fiction. It is the future of air dominance, and the United States already holds it. Once operational, no country will be able to hide its movements, because the SR-72 will see everything, fly higher than everything, and be impossible to stop. Top 3. Skyborg. While the rest of the world still trains pilots and builds flight simulators, the United States decided to remove the weakest link in aerial combat, the human. And it did so by creating something far beyond a mere drone. Skyborg, an autonomous artificial intelligence system capable of controlling combat aircraft by itself, making tactical decisions in flight, and engaging targets without requiring real-time human orders. Skyborg is not a single aircraft. It is an artificial brain that can be installed on multiple uncrewed platforms, like the XQ-58 Valkyrie, an experimental stealth aircraft already tested, flying alongside the F-35 in simulated combat missions. But the most disturbing thing is not its shape, it is its behavior. Because Skyborg does not wait for instructions. It recognizes the battlefield, identifies threats, selects the best attack vector, and executes the mission even if it loses contact with its operators. Imagine a squadron of fighters flying at supersonic speeds, coordinating electronic attacks, evasive maneuvers, and precision strikes, all without a single human pilot on board. That is already happening in test ranges in Nevada. And the brutal truth, Skyborg is being trained with real combat data, fed by generative artificial intelligence, and prepared to operate in scenarios where no human pilot could survive. We are talking about a system that never sleeps, feels no fear, and has no remorse. A hunter that is learning to be deadlier than any human squadron. If a total war ever breaks out, Skyborg will be the first to enter battle, and the last to fall. Top 2. Project Thor. For years there have been rumors about a secret US weapon capable of striking from space with no warning, no explosives, no radiation, and leaving no visible trace. A weapon that does not need a detonation because its mere impact is enough to wipe out everything it touches. Codename: Project THOR. At first glance, it sounds insane. Tungsten rods dropped from orbit. But the idea is brutally simple, and one of the coldest concepts the Pentagon has ever conceived. By releasing one of these projectiles from more than 500 kilometers of altitude, the energy at impact equals that of a tactical nuclear weapon, but without fallout, without airborne contamination, and without anyone immediately attributing responsibility. That is precisely what makes it one of the most dangerous weapons in history. No warning, no sound, no missile defense can stop it. A military base, a power plant, a bunker buried 30 meters deep? Any of these can be pulverized in a fraction of a second with a single strike. And the most chilling fact? The United States wouldn't even need to declare war. If Project Thor is activated, there will be no armies, no jets, no submarines. Just a signal from space, and then absolute silence. In a world where speed rules, this weapon does not attack fast. It hits before you even know you are being attacked. Top 1. DEV. It does not launch missiles. It does not fire bullets. It does not even have to move. The system DEV, short for Directed Energy Vehicle, represents the next evolutionary leap in modern warfare. And no, this is not futuristic fantasy or conspiracy theory. It is real, in active development, and when it is ready, it will forever change how conflict is understood. We are talking about a weapon that uses pure energy, high-power laser beams, concentrated microwaves, and electromagnetic pulses capable of destroying any target. From a drone to a supersonic fighter, in a matter of seconds. All without noise, without fire, and without leaving a single fragment to investigate. And worse, the enemy might never know where the attack came from or when the next one will occur. The DEV system does not only seek to neutralize threats, it seeks to make them vanish. Imagine a battlefield where tanks collapse from internal overheating, where aircraft fall with no visible impact marks, and where soldiers lose communications, vision, and balance without having been shot at. This is not science fiction. It is electronic warfare pushed to its extreme, and it is already being tested. The United States knows this. That is why it is investing billions to integrate this technology into vehicles, satellites, uncrewed aircraft, even mobile systems deployable in urban areas without raising suspicion. Because the new war is not won by brute force. It is won with surgical precision, invisibility, and total control of the electromagnetic spectrum. And when the DEV system is fully operational, there will be no sirens, no time to react, just a beam of energy, and then nothing. There you have it, the 7 most inhuman, impossible, and destructive weapons ever created by humankind. Technologies so advanced, so lethal, and so unreal that they look like the work of extraterrestrial civilizations. But they are not. They are 100% real, and they are ready to be used. Because while you watch this video, there are engineers, militaries, and entire governments preparing the armament that could end humanity in a matter of minutes. And the most disturbing thing is that no one will be able to stop it once it starts. Now tell us, which of these weapons did you find the most chilling? Do you think any of them will be used within the next few years? Leave your answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and ring the bell. Because what's coming next on TechZNX will be even more brutal.